Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee.
And I'm Rhonda, and together we are the Sake Sisters. For more information, check out our website at www.switchbladesistersocialclub.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Switchblade Sisters Social Club.
Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Switchblade Sisters Social Club. So we are a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. And my name is Dee. This is my sister, Rhonda, and we are the Safie Sisters. We make our parents proud. Hi, Mama and Papa Safs.
Hi.
You never listen to us. We've got a website, switchbladesistersocialclub.com. Go check it out. We've got all our socials on there. And at the moment, we are running a giveaway. We're doing, if you leave us a review after listening to a couple of our episodes and send us a screenshot of it to our email, which is switchbladesistersocialclub@gmail.com, and sign up to our mailing list, then we will enter you into a prize draw to win a bunch of our merch. So we've got, for example, this isn't a cushion. I've fashioned a cushion out of one of our cool t-shirts, but we'll give you a bunch of free goodies, including some of the stuff from our own personal businesses. So you'll get a lunar planner for 2023, which is a page per day planner. It tells you what phase the moon is every day, helps you organize your life. Rhonda, what are you chucking in?
I'm going to chuck in some notebooks and some mirrors and some pens, some pocket mirrors, pens.
Just like to emphasize, you'll get one of each.
One, but I say several because hopefully we'll have several giveaways.
Yeah, and then we've also got some cool stickers, and we'll make it a really fun goodie bag to get in the post to make a change from all the bills and the whatnots. And you can also work with us. More info on our websites. We do all kinds of things like copywriting, editing, podcast editing, website creation. So go check that out.
Social media
management. Sorry, I always forget that. So Wretched, for those of you who might remember from past episodes, I often call my sister Wretched. It's a term of endearment. It is a term of endearment. If you know us, you know that it's a term of endearment. What are you watching these days?
Well, okay, so you know what I watch is not so sophisticated because my favorite TV franchise is The Real Housewives, and I've been watching it since the dawn of time. That and true crime documentaries, obviously, but I'm not going to mention which ones because I was watching them because it was research. That was work. So I can't mention which crime documentaries I was watching because a lot of those form part of our episodes for this season. But yeah, I do love The Real Housewives. I can't lie. But you know which ones I like? I like The Real Housewives franchises where the women are not housewives, where they're actually like successful business women, you know? Because I kind of watch it to aspire to. I mean, obviously it's escapism, but like, and it can be trashy TV, I can't lie, especially this week's of Potomac. But yeah, I love it. I gotta admit, I love it.
Well, because I watch, there's no judgment here for watching trashy TV. I watch the trashiest of all trashy TV, but I cannot get on the Real Housewives train. So if you've never seen any seasons, which is the best intro one?
Oh, okay. Well, it depends what you like, because you know what? I like the ones where they keep it real. Like, I love New Jersey because they're like really down to earth. They keep it real. There's so much less pretentious. And like, although I love Beverly Hills too, I don't, I'm not materialistic. I'm not flashy. I don't aspire to any of that. And I don't admire when people are really into, do you know what I don't like is people showing off about wealth. It's vulgar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That to me, it's gross. And also in this day and age, like, it's not okay anymore to kind of like boast about $750,000 earrings, Erica Girardi, when there are victims involved in that case. And so I don't like that. Although I do like to watch those shows, I don't admire that. Whereas I really do like Jersey and even Potomac, because like a lot of them are,
Potomac being Washington, D.C.
yeah, and Virginia area. I like the ones where they are success stories. Do you know what I mean? They come from humble backgrounds. They've done really well for themselves, and they just happen to be entertaining to watch. I don't like the ones that boast about marrying into wealth, because that I've got no time for. Don't admire it. Don't like to watch it. The trash TV that I don't like, however, I can't deal with Jersey Shore. No, wait, what's the English one? Geordie Shore.
Geordie Shore.
I probably don't like Jersey Shore.
I'm okay
either.
watching that one.
Oh, see, I can't.
I'll tell you what, you know, I had a writing assignment recently, which was both funny and incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I had to, for the Washington Report of Middle East Affairs, I had to write a review on the kind of recent trend of reality TV shows set in Dubai. So I watched Dubai Hustle, Dubai Bling, Real Housewives of Dubai, and I struggled because, like, I mean, first of all, it's a bunch of fake people shouting at each other that they're all fake.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Don't
I
really
mean, that's like every episode of every
right
TV show. Yeah.
And I'm okay with people being a bit fake. There's no judgment of like implants and
yeah,
you know,
totally
Botox
fine.
or whatever.
Oh, I'm having a Botox party for my 30th birthday. That's
amazing.
what I want.
30th.
38th.
Oh, 38th. I was
yeah,
like,
I'm not
that's pace. So yeah, but I tell you, I think it's
sorry,
just
to clarify, the Botox party will be me and the nurse. That's
right.
a party for me.
And me.
Yeah, you can come.
Okay, cool. But like, especially at a time where everyone's struggling at the moment, it felt a bit difficult. Like, one of the lines in my article is that they buy like $300,000 necklaces with about the same amount of deliberation as I use to decide whether to splurge on like a latte when I'm out.
Well,
you know,
exactly. That's the thing. Like the bling bling era, it's passe. It's done. We're not in. We're too. I think people are a little bit more socially, economically conscious to like boast about how much they spent on stuff, and that it makes me nauseous. It makes me nauseous when people boast. And yeah, I mean, although I love like Real Housewives shows and stuff, the ones that boast about wealth, I don't have any time for, even if they've earned it themselves. Like, you know, I aspire to have a good life, not so that I can buy expensive things. It's that I can provide kids with safety and security. That's for me what wealth is there for, you know, not for earrings and handbags and Birkin bags and all the rest.
And there's such a difference of buying stuff because you like it and buying stuff to show off that you can afford to buy it. Like, I remember in the Dubai Bling, they seem to have a problem with one of the girls who's an influencer. And like, to be fair, she seems like the one that's actually like working for money rather than like being married into money, and having kind of hobby jobs. There's lots of hobby jobs, you know. But they're all accuse her of being sponsored, like being sponsored.
It's hard to become an influencer in this day and age. You actually have to be good at what you're doing. A good salesperson, good at video editing and creative.
Exactly. I hate that shit. So well done to her. But it just makes me laugh because the people that are accusing her of like, accusing her in quotation marks of being sponsored, they're wearing designer labels and everything, but you know, the type where the label is written across the chest and like big Versace belches that are even I can identify as Versace because it's the logo or big V's and whatever. So it's like,
oh, bye, hun.
Bye. Anyway, so yeah, I struggled with that. But it was really interesting. I'll post the article link in the show notes.
Oh yeah, it is a good article. It is a great article.
Oh, thanks.
It is. Deanna's a great writer. She's actually a journalist. She's very modest about that, but she writes for a lot of publications and big ones and important ones, as she mentioned. But you know what? Yeah, going back to like George, what's the English one?
Geordie Shore.
I can't. And even like, what's the one where they're all Love Island? I can't watch that shit. I don't. It sounds terrible to say. I don't want to know those people exist. That for me, that's trashy. That is full on trashy. That's just people. I don't want to watch people getting drunk. I'm almost 40. I don't care to watch people getting drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, like drunk people can be funny, but when they have nothing interesting to say, they've got no substance whatsoever, I don't want to fucking watch it. I don't watch that shit.
The thing that I cannot get over is like on all of these shows, it's no one capable of having any kind of party or work event without having a massive argument. Like, I would be fuming if I had a work event and some friends came along and started a
It's like they don't know how to behave in public at all.
And I know obviously a lot of it is like scripted reality or whatever.
And I'm sure producers are heavily involved in
egging them on and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. But like, oh my God, if there was fights at every birthday party, I just would stop going out with those people. Like,
Yeah.
oh, exhausting. Yeah. It's tiring watching it. And for me, I've been watching something which I didn't think I would watch or like. Unsolved Mysteries. You know, they've sort of done not a remake, but a reboot or whatever. And the reason why I didn't think I would like it as much as I have been enjoying it, is because I like things being all wrapped up and tied in a bow.
I know. It's like at the end of an episode, like sometimes when you're listening to like a podcast and they haven't found the murderer at the end.
I'm like, what? They're still out there?
Yeah. Fuck. Why the fuck did I just listen to that? Why did I listen to that? Like, to warn me at the start that there's no conclusion, because then I can listen to something else.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why Unsolved Mysteries, at least I know going in that it's a mystery. But the other thing I started watching, I know I'm a bit behind with the times, but because obviously we're recording well in advance, but Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, didn't that just start on Wednesday? Wait, no, yesterday? I thought it just came out this week on Netflix.
I know, but it's coming out this is coming out in like February, Rich.
Yeah. I know that's actually my Friday night thing to watch. I'm going to try to watch
God.
I literally get like 1 hour a day to watch TV. After work and kids are done, I get 1 hour to watch something. So I meticulously plan what I'm going to watch.
Well, worth it. Paul, my partner, the whole time we were watching it, was pissing himself laughing because he's like, that's you. That's you at school, isn't it? And I'm like,
I like that actress. I like her. She was in You, remember? She was in You. She was in...
Which season?
The one where he lives in LA. Second season.
I've only seen season 1 of You.
Oh my God, You is amazing.
I know. It's just, there's so much good TV.
I know that, but that is like in top 10 good TV.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll add that to my priority list. But yeah, Wednesday, so good. Christina Ricci is in it.
She's in it.
Yeah, she's in it. She's not playing Wednesday, obviously. She's playing one of the kind of like the dorm mum at the school, because basically Wednesday gets sent to this boarding school for outcasts. So it's like a little bit Harry Potter-esque, but it's really good. There's like some murder mystery stuff going on.
I love it. I mean, I haven't even seen it yet, but I just love the aesthetic of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks very Tim Burton. Is he involved in it?
Yeah, he's done it. Yeah.
Anything Tim Burton. Even like last week I was watching Frankenweenie with the kids. And it's so good. The music.
Weenie over there. I know. Well, Danny Elfman is making it as well.
Oh my God, Danny Elfman. Do you know what? Like, when I used to teach music, I used to teach Danny Elfman scores, film scores, and he is a fucking genius. Anything he does is amazing. You know?
Danny Elfman, John Williams.
Oh yeah, Hans Zimmer. There's a lot of good film score people. Yeah.
So yes, you will fucking love it. I'm gonna save you for again, we're recording a bit in advance because we don't want our life to get in the way of our podcast.
And we're just really organized. We want to make this
organized.
That's fucking podcast for you. So we make sure we got time to research. We make sure that we got time to record. We make sure Dee has time to do everything else.
But I'm gonna save I might actually start again because season 1 was so good of You. I'm gonna save that for my Christmas viewing because I'm determined to take that week off. Between Christmas and New Year, I'm taking it off. I'm watching 3 seasons of You.
And another one's coming out soon where he's in Paris, I think. So yeah.
Oh my God.
Binge it to get ready.
So good. Yeah. It was so good. All right, fantastic. Well, should we get on to the case?
Okay, well, do you know what? Do you know what I'm happy about? Is that today's case is about as lighthearted as it gets.
Yeah.
This whole season.
And we get to say bada bing, bada boom. That's a little clue.
Do you know what? Honestly, when I've been researching, you know what? After last week's Levi Bellfield, you know what? I'm always awake at 3 a.m. because I have 2 kids with sleep disorders, as you know, because I've talked about this now for 6 years, which means that I have a sleep disorder. So I was awake at 3 a.m. I couldn't get back to sleep because I kept thinking about Kate Sheedy, one of his victims. I don't know why. Anyway, fucking horrendous. Every time I research podcast episodes, they literally keep me up at night. Like, you know, last season of We Knew the Moon, which was Dee's former podcast, which we've now rebranded because I'm on board. and we were doing urban legends. And literally that night, I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, oh shit, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
yeah,
I know the Levi Belfield one freaked the fuck out of me because as much as I read and watch all of this kind of true crime stuff, and I knew about Levi Belfield, but going into a deep dive and reading all these things while living in the area and walking the same streets that these things happen, like I'm looking around going like, fucking hell, I bet Levi walked down the street. I bet Levi's been in this newsagent. I bet Levi's done, you know what I mean?
I know, and there's a Christmas thing happening on Twickenham Green, like a Christmas Santa, I don't know, whatever, some sort of Santa thing. And I
saw him yesterday.
Oh, was it? Oh, missed it. I was thinking, how can I go to that? Bring the kids to there. When the tree of murder happened right here. Like, I'm going to be thinking about that, you know?
I know.
But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to today's episode because, oh my God, do you know what? Like I said last week or the week before, we were wondering whether we should be a true crime / comedy podcast, but we decided against that because it's very hard to inject any kind of humor when you're talking about people's murder and death. You know, you have to be sensitive about it. And also, secondly, you know, we also had the discussion of, are we fucking funny to anyone else other than ourselves? I mean, I think so. There's people who listen to us.
Our parents are definitely on the other side of the, they, I remember how much, I don't know, siblings out there. Did you also get in trouble for laughing in the back of the car and giggling? Our parents used to hate it.
Oh, no,
it's like, we're having fun.
Trouble. We didn't get in trouble because we never got in trouble in our lives because our parents don't know how to do that. But they got annoyed.
Did we ever get like...
No, the worst punishment I ever had was... No, what is that? The worst punishment I had was when you took me to get my belly button pierced when I was 13, Camden Market, and I had no Jerry Springer for a month, but I just watched it when they were out. So that was as bad as it got, punishment-wise. Yeah. And like, I even remember when I was 16 and got a big tattoo on my back, and I was like, oh shit, I better tell my dad. So I told both parents, told them it was a temporary one. It's still here like 20 something years later. It wasn't temporary. I don't think that even exists. Anyway, he's just like, I told him, I confessed, and then he just poured himself a Grand Marnier and remained silent.
This is from the man who rarely drinks.
Yeah, I mean, we were in Paris, we were on holiday. Oh. He was trying to enjoy
you decide to ruin his holiday. Oh, bless. Sorry, parents.
Yeah, so no.
Sorry.
Yeah, they weren't so good at that. And as a result, I'm not so good at that either. Who knew that you become like your parents?
Who knew?
Anyway, so let me tell you about the story. Funnily enough, I did get called in for a meeting with the kids' school to talk about like implementing the same behavior strategies at home as they use at school.
Meaning don't be so fucking soft on them.
Yeah, but not much annoys me, to be fair. Like, and they're so cute. And then the other thing is, like, I remember when the first year I did my teacher training, during my teacher training, I remember my mentor said, you've got to show anger sometimes. You've got to sometimes show them that you're angry. I'm like, well, I'm not. To be honest, like, some things are funny. Like, Che, my son, he got in trouble at school the other day because he was laughing. His friend threw food on the floor.
Wait, he was laughing because his friend threw food on the floor?
Yeah. But it's like...
Why is Che getting in trouble for that?
He was laughing.
But so?
For a 6-year-old, that's fucking funny.
That's fucking hilarious. For a 6-year-old, for a fucking 39-year-old, I would piss myself.
So basically, no, but to be fair, like, I mean, I went and I apologized, you know, as I always do. And I love that school. It's an autism special school. I love that school. I love all the staff. And the staff even say to me that they find it hard not to laugh when they're trying to tell off. Yeah.
When kids do things that are naughty, sometimes it's fucking hilarious. That's
it
why,
is. They've said that about both the twins, that they're so cute and funny that they've got to tell them off, but they like have to stifle laughter because it's funny. Anyway, let me tell a fucking story.
I know, but on that note, before we do, I agree with the thing about showing anger every now and then. Don't take relationship advice from me. I was divorced in my early 30s, but I feel like every now and then you gotta go batshit crazy.
Lose your shit. Oh, I did do that when I was teaching occasionally.
Just so they don't ever want that to happen again.
And then they fucking the room falls silent. But like, I would reserve that for when it was like a situation involving danger or something horrendous if they were to say something, homophobic, racist, blah, blah, blah. And then...
Oh, and then they fucking deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us, what case are we doing today?
Let me tell you the story. And let me start by saying that thank fuck no one dies. No one fucking dies. Thank God. Honestly, I think we needed, I think occasionally every few episodes we should do one where somebody doesn't
No one
die.
dies. Yeah.
So, okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about Amy Fisher and the attempted murder of Mary Jo Buttofuoco. But I think I can't open it without mentioning the infamous and notorious Joey Buttafuoco, who somehow, he's instrumental in this whole story and somehow escapes unscathed. But anyway, let me start by telling you the story. Like, I actually was interested in the story because I remember the Drew Barrymore film, and I remember watching that. Wait, this happened 1992. The film probably came out a few years later, mid-90s. I would have been, I don't know, mid-90s, 10-ish. And I remember being freaked the fuck out by the film, So anyway, let me tell you. So it's May 19th, 1992 in Biltmore Shores, which is in Long Island, New York. And this is the story of the so-called Long Island Lolita, Amy fucking Fisher.
Ugh.
Yeah. So on this day, 37-year-old housewife and mother of two, Mary Jo, answers the door in her Long Island home. So she's been decorating in the back of the house, painting a bench, doing some DIY, and she sees a 17-year-old girl on her doorstep who tells Mary Jo that her name is Anne Marie, but that her 16-year-old sister is having an affair with Mary Jo's husband, Joey. So Mary Jo sees a guy in the car outside with the engine running and asks Anne Marie, that she says her name is, who the guy is. So then Amy Fisher tries to prove her story about her sister having an affair with Joey by showing Mary Jo a t-shirt from Joey's garage, because Joey owns a car repair shop. And Anne Marie, aka Amy, or Amy, aka Anne Marie, says to Mary Jo that Joey gave her little sister that t-shirt. So Mary Jo then goes to close the door, and Amy's getting like really annoyed. Like, she even says to her, why aren't you getting angry about what I'm telling you? Like, she's trying. This is also after months of Amy stalking Mary Jo, tracking her movements. She says to Mary Jo, like, why aren't you angry? But Mary Jo sniffs out some bullshit here because she knows something's not right with the story. And she knows her husband's no saint, but she, to this point, hasn't openly suspected him of ever having an affair.
And with a 16-year-old.
Yeah. So
in a country where the age of consent is 18.
Yeah.
It's
so
important to remember that.
Oh yeah, I'll be talking about that. So yeah, so basically Amy gets more and more riled up that Mary Jo's not buying the story, not getting angry, because I don't know what it's hard to know really what her intention was. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so what happens is Mary Jo goes to close the door, and then Amy pulls out a gun and whacks Mary Jo on the back of the head with it twice, which knocks her to the floor, and then she fires a gun at her head. So Amy shoots Mary Jo. At the time, this was a huge tabloid story. It was everywhere. Several movies were made from it. Drew Barrymore was in one. She was very convincing. Really good actress. Alyssa Milano was in another, but I haven't seen that one. I can't imagine Alyssa Milano being as convincing as Amy Fisher, because she's got a really sweet, innocent face, you know? Mm. Anyway, so I remember watching that film with Drew Barrymore and being scared shitless that someone could come to your front fucking door and shoot you. Like, when you're a kid, you're like, whoa, I thought I was safe at home. One thing we've realized from podcast research is that you are safe nowhere in your home, outside of your home, yards from your front door, on your front door, wherever the fuck you are, you're not safe. So anyway, that was that moment of realization for me. So Amy then drops the gun and a t-shirt and runs back to the guy in the car. He yells at her to go back and get the stuff. So they get back in the car and speed off, leaving Mary Jo, as far as they know, dead. So 3 neighbors hear what happened and come to see Mary Jo's still alive, and they call the ambulance. So doctors take her to surgery for 8 hours. They can't remove the bullet from her skull. And it ended up being lodged in her spine as it went through and down somehow. So the injuries left Mary Jo with half of her face paralyzed and deaf in one ear. So police bring Joe in for questioning. They don't suspect him, but they want to know who it could be. I don't know why they didn't suspect him, because it's always a fucking husband, isn't it?
It's always husband related, isn't it?
Yeah. So at this time, both women were dragged to the press, and Joey, as I mentioned, strutted around like he was untouchable and all this. He tells the police that he suspects a guy called Paul and his girlfriend, Amy Fisher. He says that Paul is involved in drugs and knows dangerous people. So Joey claims to be a friend of Amy. Like, Joey's 36 or 37 at the time. Who the fuck at that age is friends with a 16 or 17-year-old? That's weird in itself. Nope. That's an alarm bell already. Anyway.
Massive alarm bell. There's nothing you should have in common. The one gray area I will maintain is work colleagues. Like, if you work together.
Because then you have a commonality.
Yeah, and there's like a group drink. Or whatever, you know what I mean? But I cannot, any other context, see why you would be close friends with someone that age.
Well, yeah. So, Joey claims to be a friend of Amy, and he says he told Amy not to lend Paul money. Apparently, Paul got angry and wanted to retaliate against Joey's family. So Mary Jo later regains consciousness. And she describes what Amy Fisher and her boyfriend looked like. She remembers absolutely everything. Weirdly, shot in the head, remembers fucking everything. She's shown a picture of Amy, says, yeah, that's her. So when they show her a photo, she confirms that it's Amy. So here's some background on Amy. So Amy Fisher was born in 1974. She's an only child from Long Island. She's described as coming from a middle-class home, and that she had all the materialistic things she wanted. So, she was not from an underprivileged background. She's close to her mother, but had a strained relationship with her dad, according to Amy. He scares her and was a really angry man. So she says her upbringing was traumatic because she was sexually abused by a family member and then also raped by a contractor who was working in her home as a child. She's described, so she didn't, so although,
do we know...
Do we know if it's true?
We always want to believe women, but do we know if it's true or not? Like, was it prosecuted or anything like that?
No, it wasn't. And
which is common. Not everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially as a child who may be scared to report things. The last bit of research I did was that there was a question mark above it, just because there was no proof or evidence. But again, as we know,
that's very common. Yeah,
common, especially if people are afraid to come forward. That being said, judging by her crimes and her profile and what happened to her in her life later on, it's not hard to believe that there was sexual abuse in her childhood, because one thing we know about serial killers and people who commit violent crimes is that often there's trauma, often sexual abuse, often a bad home life. So it's not hard to imagine that was the case. But she's described as sociable and likable, having lots of friends and doing well in school. So in May 1991, at 16 years old, she accidentally breaks her wing mirror of her car. She gets worried about telling her dad, so she takes it to a repair shop. She ends up going to Joey's garage, where she meets him for the first time. When she gets to quote, she can't afford it and breaks down crying, telling him that she can't go to her dad to admit that she broke her car. So Joey calms her and tells her to say that somebody else damaged the car in an accident, so that her dad will pay. She goes, tells her parents the lies. Her dad goes back with her for the repairs. Amy then witnesses how smooth and charming Joey is when dealing with her angry dad. And then she starts to take an interest in him. And over the next few weeks, Amy dings her car several times on purpose, just so she can go back and see Joey, which is like a typical teenager thing to do, where you like someone, you want to constantly remind them that you exist, so you pester them.
But it's like, what 30-something-year-old guy would think that was charming? That's the...
Well, I mean, he is a sick fuck, this Joey, but Joey likes the attention. So he's a larger-than-life, imagine like a typical, like, larger-than-life Italian-American. I'll tell you more about him, but he's described as a life of the party, loves attention. Anyway, they start a gross relationship because he likes the attention from Amy. So on the 2nd of July, Amy goes for a new stereo to be fitted. Joey drives her home and they sleep together for the first time, which is technically...
And she's 16.
Yeah, technically statutory rape. According to the law, she's a minor. They then start to meet in motels and hotels, and soon after, Amy gets a job at a mall, but is fired after a month. So she goes to Joey to tell him she needs money to pay off her car. So he then convinces her to start sex work. Yeah. So yeah, so
Whoa.
he effectively becomes her pimp.
Her pimps.
Yeah, I did read from one source that she worked for an escort agency, from another that he was her pimp. That doesn't sound unbelievable, because otherwise, what interest would he have in her doing that? He hooks her up with an escort agency, so she joins because she's desperate for money. She's also fantasizing that her and Joey are going to be together. Joey complains a lot to Amy about Mary Jo and says that he's unhappy in his marriage. And by November, she met him in May, so by November, Amy's bored of waiting for Joey to leave Mary Jo. So he chooses Mary Jo, and Amy attempts suicide. And that's not the first time in her life that she does that. So Amy tells her mother that her suicide attempt was because of a boy her own age. And during winter, she starts seeing a guy called Paul who owns a gym. But she's still obsessed with Joey and starts to contact him again. So they get back together in January of 1992.
Sorry, can we go back to Paul?
Yeah.
Paul owns a gym. At this point, Amy is still 16, 17.
Yeah.
So I'm going to presume that Paul is over 18.
Oh, likely. Yeah.
If he owns a gym, he's at least early 20s.
Yeah. So another guy.
Another pedophile, let's call it
taking advantage of Amy. Yeah. So at this point, to be fair, I'm still seeing Amy as a victim, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, obviously, a bit of a devious one, but how did she become that way? Because she was taken advantage of by and abused by men in her life, you know? And they get back together in January of 1992. She tells Joey she's seeing Paul, but by this point, Amy is still fixated on Joey leaving his wife. So one day, Amy and her friend, Jane, are talking about how Jane's boyfriend is cheating on her, and Jane says she wishes she could get a gun and blow the other girl's head off. So with that, Amy tells Jane that's what she's going to do to Mary Jo. So Jane suggests that they get their mutual friend, PDG, that's his nickname, to get a gun. Amy goes to Joey to tell him of her plan to kill Mary Jo. Now, there's different versions of this story. She says he encouraged her to do it and that he liked the plan. I don't actually believe that, because they had two young kids. They had a daughter and a son called Jessica and Paul. I don't believe that Joey would have wanted Mary Jo dead. I think he's the kind of guy who wanted the housewife at home. The dinner's cooked, someone to look after the kids, because he was described.
He doesn't want to do full-time parenting.
No, he was described also as a fun dad. That did love his kids. And I think you can be a complete prick, but still be good to your kids. Was he a good dad? Probably not. Because... But
yeah, it's a big leap to be okay with the mother of your children being dead and dealing with the repercussions of that on your poor children.
Exactly. So I don't believe this version of the story. It's not a convenient case scenario for... It's
also an incredibly bad idea.
Yeah.
so obviously going to backfire on him.
Yeah. So she says he encouraged her to do it. We don't think so. PDG tells Amy to put stolen license plates on her car, on his Thunderbird. Why do they always use like these really obvious cars to commit crimes in? Why not like a Ford Escort? You know?
Because they're still children.
Yeah, true. And her and PDG are the ones that drive over. They were clearly not criminal masterminds. So on May 19th, they both drive to the Buttafuoco house and the shooting occurs. Police go and arrest Amy at her home after asking Joey to call her and find out where she was. She's devastated that Joey told the police where she was, so she tells them that Joey gave her the gun and that the gun went off by accident. She tells the police about the affair and that it was all planned by Joey, because at this point she's mad at Joey that Joey ratted her out. Joey denies it, and there's no evidence to tie him to the shooting. He denies the affair as well, and Mary Jo supports him and believes him. Now, Mary Jo supporting him, she stuck by him for a lot of years. Thank God she left him. She's with somebody else now. But this is where there's a bit of an issue. Like, obviously, Mary Jo is the victim in all this. She was the one that was shot. The innocent party. Her and Joey met when they were in high school when they were 17. They got married when they were like 22. They were high school sweethearts. She was from an Irish Catholic background. He's from a Italian American Catholic background. So, you know, in that era, also people got married younger. So they got married young. But she knew what he was like because he used to do a lot of drugs before they had kids, well, still after as well. Mary Jo used to partake in drug taking as well. So she, you know, she was aware that this is no squeaky clean guy. Do you know what I mean? Before any of this. He used to go, even after they had kids, he would go on drug binges and go AWOL for days. So I don't know why. So apparently when Amy came to the door pretending to be Anne-Marie, she knew that he must have got involved in something stupid, but she didn't think an affair. Now, if your husband's going AWOL for days, I don't know why you wouldn't think he's having affairs. Don't know why you wouldn't think that.
I don't know, because if she was in love and, you know, doing drugs is very different to cheating on your partner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're completely unrelated. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're out of your mind or if you're not in your sort of normal state of being, you're more likely to do things, you know, your inhibitions are lowered.
Yeah.
But I can see why you would want to convince yourself, okay, he might go out and get completely fucking wasted, but he loves me and I'm the only one he wants to be with.
Yeah. Also, though, he did have brushes with the law before, because there's one instance where he was being chased by the police. He had a heavily pregnant Mary Jo in the car and he was driving. They were being chased by police. Then the police pulls them over. And as soon as the police officer goes to get out the car, Joey puts his foot down and they drive off. So she was not naive to his misbehaviors, you know? Obviously, in the 90s, we talk about it like it's ancient history when everything was black and white, but I don't know, it doesn't feel that long ago for us, but
you mean 5 minutes ago, the 90s, yeah. 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
But it was actually very different, like culturally a very different era. And if she was a housewife, didn't have her own income, didn't have her own independence, therefore, then she, you know, I think women did tolerate much more then. Also, in their communities, maybe divorce wasn't, if they're from Catholic backgrounds, divorce wasn't, you know, as acceptable
exactly.
as it is.
And I think there was a lot more turning a blind eye to certain behaviors.
Yeah. So
as long as you didn't drag the family name through the mud.
Yeah. So I think, so it's interesting, when she stuck by him for years and years and years, I don't think she was naive to the possibility that he was having affairs. You know, I wonder whether she, I don't know, we'll go into it. So he denies the affair and Mary Jo supports him and believes him. So on the 1st of June, the night before Amy's bail hearing, PDG releases a sex tape of Amy, which technically is child porn because she was a minor.
Do we know how old PDG is?
I think he was a teenager. Don't know his exact age, but I think he's a teenager too.
But even if you are a child, if you share, because you can get done, can't you, for sending pictures of yourself if you're a child?
Yeah. So they set Amy's bail at $2 million. Her lawyer tries to get it lowered, but the judge won't budge, so she's behind bars until a trial. Joey, in the meantime, even goes on the Howard Stern show. We need to have a whole
episode on what a dick Howard Stern is.
Oh yeah, completely. And he's talking about how he never had an affair with Amy whatsoever. He claims to be innocent, that there's no evidence to say he was involved. Also, the thing is, back then mobile phones weren't a thing. People didn't have the internet. It's 1992. I remember.
Cameras everywhere.
And that's the thing. And one thing we saw in the Levi Belfield case was that the power of CCTV and being able to solve crimes. So, you know, social media didn't exist then. So you couldn't just log on somebody's account and see who they're having an affair with. So 2 months into her imprisonment, a production company and insurance company raised her $2 million bail. They offered to bail her out in exchange for exclusive rights to her story. So police then find the gun in the gutter near her house. Again, not criminal masterminds. The police then find evidence of the affair and that Joey was guilty of statutory rape. And they find evidence because Amy managed to produce receipts of the hotel and motel receipts. So they agree that if Amy cooperates in the investigation on Joey, they will lower her sentence. So on the 23rd of September, she accepts the deal. So now PDG is being roped into the investigation. He releases a newer sex tape with Amy to show a TV show called, he releases it to a show called Hard Copy in the States. And in the tape, Amy makes statements that further damage her character, her and reputation. The video was made after being released on bail, but before accepting the plea bargain. She says in the tape, "I want my name in the press. Why? Because I can make a lot of money. If I'm going through all this pain and suffering, I can get myself a Ferrari." So then Amy attempts suicide again by taking an overdose of tranquilizers. Second suicide attempt. She survives because her stomach is pumped. So she's sentenced to 15 years, but only serves 7 and is released in 1999. So this started in 1992. She's released in 1999.
I mean, those statements are damning, but again, she is still a child.
She's a kid. And I can imagine that a kid is like, fuck it, if I'm going through all this shit, you know, I want something good out of it, you know? I mean, it's not an honorable thing that she said, but still, I maintain that Amy is clearly not somebody I would want in my life. But I wonder how things would have turned out different for her had, let's say, had she not been abused as a child, and had that not repeatedly actually happened throughout her childhood, had her parents maybe been more aware, more supportive, got her the help, you know, how would Amy have turned out differently?
And if she'd never met Joey fucking Bada Bing.
Yeah, because she's not a serial killer.
No.
You know, this is a rage killing. This is not like a serial killer. It's not the same mentality. It's not the same profile. This is like
she got herself in a situation that she was emotionally not mature enough to deal with. Yeah. I'm not making excuses for her behavior. Obviously, it's terrible to shoot someone in the head. But, you know, at 16, you are not able to cope with the grown-up things like being with a married man who's got children. And I mean, no one should have to be in that kind of situation. But you're not old enough to know how to deal with these complex situations and these emotions. Yeah. Yeah. And she was somebody who really was taken advantage of and abused by men, you know, and she worked for an escort agency as a sex worker, as a child, you know, I mean, she would have experienced a lot of horrendous things that children wouldn't normally, hopefully, ever. So PDG serves 6 months for getting Amy the gun. And Joey's statutory rape case is reopened because of the hotel receipts that Amy produces, pointing to his guilt. But even with this evidence, Mary Jo still defends Joey. I can't imagine she still believes it didn't happen. But maybe they had PR training. Maybe they had, who knows who was involved telling her, look, Amy, maybe the lawyers. Yeah, I can imagine if you leave him now, he's going down to jail. Do you want the father of your children being in jail? Yeah, exactly. So I can imagine all those factors that kind of made Mary Jo just put up and shut up, at least temporarily, as maybe the easiest option for her at that time, or the best. So anyway, Joey is indicted for statutory rape. He pleads not guilty, but when his trial starts in 1993, he pleads guilty and he's sentenced to 6 months. Which just seems like nothing. What? Yeah, nothing. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So he's released in 1994 and Mary Jo is still standing by him. They moved to LA as a family because Joey wants to become a fucking famous actor. Of course he does. Yeah. He does get some work on cable TV. And he then gets arrested a year later for trying to solicit sex from an undercover police officer. Yeah. So this is the point when Mary Jo then wakes up and smells the coffee, says her husband's a sociopath, and divorces him in 2003. Good for you, Mary Jo. Yeah. I mean, I imagine she wanted to get rid of this guy sooner, but I don't know. Maybe they had to get him out of jail, deal with all the legal stuff, move away before that was, move away to LA before that was feasible. I mean, how much? And also bear in mind, she's still recovering from being shot in the fucking head. Well, that's learning how to live life being half paralyzed. Yeah. Like, that's a lot. So you can understand why she might want to make these big life changes in stages. Yeah. You know? So they've been together since high school. And it's funny because the People magazine once called them the relentlessly tested, eerily resilient marriage. Eerily resilient that's a good, So in 2004, he's arrested again for insurance fraud because this guy
He just likes to commit
just
shit crimes.
shit.
Yeah.
He's just a look, he was
He's
basically
slimy, he's sleazy.
raping a child. He's a pedophile, proven, convicted pedophile. And he got a fucking holiday in all-inclusive prison resort.
Yeah.
I'm not saying prison is easy, but 6 months is ridiculous.
Well, interestingly, since I watched Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa Giudice, she went to prison for a year. She actually said it wasn't that bad, and it was kind of like an adult holiday camp, and she did get to do yoga every day and actually trained to be a yoga teacher while she was there.
Oh my God.
She actually said herself, access to phones, internet, it wasn't that bad. I don't know if she was on some sort of celebrity one. I don't think so. But anyway, so not all of them are terrible, apparently, which is interesting because we watch Raphael Rose's show.
Yeah, we love him.
But I don't know, apparently some aren't so bad. And he loves us because he loves us. He interacts with us on social media. Actually, update. If you remember, we talked about a couple of weeks ago our episode on the Church of Satan. Mm-hmm. That we did in the last series of We Knew the Moon. Well, we have been officially invited by the Church of Satan to become members.
I mean, they welcome anyone as long as you pay.
I'm sure it will involve some sort of fee.
Yes, it does. Because I checked it out. Because as much as we joke, because our dad thought that us releasing that episode meant that we were Satanists.
Yep.
I would love to be a member of the Church of Satan.
I mean, I'm still deliberating. I needed to run it by you because you don't check our socials. I needed to run it by you whether.
Well, I've already checked it, and there's a fee that I didn't want to pay.
What's the fee?
Oh, I can't remember. You can be a Satanist, i.e., a follower of the Church of Satan, without paying any fee.
Okay, well, what do we get if we join?
I think a card for an our
wallet. I was
wallet.
just gonna ask. Oh my God! Do you know what? You know my favorite thing is my press card from the Journalism Union, and like I love a card. I love a card.
I know. I do.
I've never used anything from it. I've never needed their services, but I just love the card.
I'm checking how much it costs to join the Church of Satan. Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to go to any services. I don't got time for that.
No. So registered membership. Oh, here, one-time registration fee. So lifetime registration fee, $225. You'll get an embossed crimson card declaring you're a member of the Church of Satan.
Oh.
If you expect to meet another member for the first time, be prepared to produce your card. I recommend that you develop a shop on your website because we would totally buy some merch.
Yeah, merch. Yeah, get in touch with us. Explain to us what do we get if we join? Is it good for our CV?
Yeah, it's good for networking.
Anyway, let me tell you the fucking story about Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. Okay, so in 2019, this is 3 years ago, it is said that he's working on a movie about his life. So meanwhile, on the other side of the country, I mean, it's not, unusual to think that Joey, with all his arrogance, would think that people want to watch a movie about his life. And actually, to be fair, they probably do. We would watch it.
I do. No, I won't watch that. I will watch movies about his life, but not one where he benefits from it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to find parts of the story where he's not benefiting. But anyway, it was said that he was, working on this movie. And on the other side of the country, Amy leaves prison in 1999 and works as a columnist for the Long Island Press. Interesting. Didn't see that coming. Wonder what she wrote about, actually. She goes on.
We'll find some articles and post them in the show notes.
Yeah, I'm curious. So she goes on to publish her ghostwritten memoir, If I Only Knew Then. Be interesting to read that. She then marries.
Remorseful.
Huh?
Sounds remorseful.
Well, she hasn't shown enough remorse, apparently. Or consistently, yeah. She then marries a man 24 years older who's a police officer, and I find that interesting. Not from her point of view, because
she likes older men.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I was trying to work out how to say that nicely. But from his point of view, I would have thought as a police officer, it's not a good look to marry an ex-convict, especially one that was trying to murder somebody. I mean, how do you show up to work the next day? Wouldn't everyone be like, I suspect, wouldn't they think you're a little bit weird, that maybe you're not trustworthy, maybe you're not on the right side of the law?
I cannot believe that didn't affect his career.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like if he was going up for a promotion, you know that's
yeah.
coming into
I'm trying to think of
conversation.
an equivalent. I'm trying to think of an equivalent analogy.
Like if you were a teacher
I
and
was
you marry a
thinking that.
former student.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly. I was thinking that. Yeah, or you married somebody who had who was a pedophile or so. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's
Yeah.
wrong on every level. And I think, I don't know, I would have thought the police officers, maybe he believes in like redemption and
Maybe
rehabilitation.
maybe he's like got no major career ambitions, so you know, he
Yeah.
might
Or
be like
maybe he just likes a fucking convict and that's why he's a police officer. Maybe he likes
yeah,
a jailbird.
you never
Maybe he
know.
does. Yeah.
Are they
Anyway,
still
yeah.
together, do you know? Like,
No. But
oh,
it's funny, you know, like the thing is with Joey Buttafuoco, like, okay, she likes an older guy. I get that. I would go older rather than go younger. I don't understand the toy boy thing, but like he wasn't Robert Redford hot or old. He wasn't Omar Sharif. He wasn't Liam Neeson. You know, we're not talking distinguished gentleman, older man. We're talking sleazy, fucking gross, like
no, because
sleazy Beverly Blue.
whenever you hear of anyone with like a major age difference, you think like, oh, they must be super charming or really
Mm,
attractive. And then when if you meet them and they're not, you're like, sorry, so what is the appeal?
mm,
You know?
yeah, yeah. And one thing we have seen from previous episodes and research is often it goes back to the dad, absent father, abusive father. Yeah. Anyway, we're not psychologists or criminologists. We just have opinions.
Yeah. And a
But,
lot
yeah. So anyways, she marries this guy called Louis Valera. They have three kids together, and they get divorced by 2015. Since she was released from prison, she's given conflicting accounts of the story, the Joey story. She has publicly said she feels no sympathy for Mary Jo, but but she's also expressed some remorse. So her book, I'm sure, is a little bit more self-indulgent than it is about expressing remorse.
And if it's ghost written and through an agent and publisher or whatever, they will
how
be
much of her is in it, you know, it's financially motivated. So she even reunited with Joey in 2007 for a reality show, which I'm going to go into.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
Yeah. Recent reports suggest that they were in talks to produce a reality TV show. They did TV appearances together. So after Joey and Mary Jo divorced, yeah. Oh God, it's on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Go on YouTube. Yeah, Amy and Joey, the TV appearances and interviews. They reunited on New York NYC, did an interview on Howard Stern, surprise, surprise. I mean, it's weird. It's really weird. After all that happens.
So even if they weren't together anymore, Joey and Mary Jo, how can you sit on a stage with the person that shot the mother of your kids?
The thing is, I think that they are so lacking in morals, both of them, and so financially motivated that they're opportunists, you know. And they did apparently, I don't know if it was a PR stunt, they did apparently get back together. Mary Jo said she was initially upset and angry when she heard about them getting together, but she wasn't surprised. She said, this is what she said about Joey. Her ex-husband's motivation is simple. She said, one word, money, money. She said, Joe has lost everything. He doesn't have a business. He's been in jail more times than I can count. He has nothing. There's nothing in his life, and he's hit rock bottom. So this is what he does. And even when their kids were little and she wanted them to move away to a more suburban area, he squandered $50,000, somehow owed that to his drug dealer. His parents had to bail them out. So he lost the money for their family home. His dad had to bail them out and demoted him in the family business. So he wasn't an owner anymore. So, you know,
I can imagine, I mean, the kids must be adults now, obviously.
Yeah, and they're not in touch with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, how can you, after all that? I mean, you know, you could argue that he was just a shit husband and having an affair. It's not his fault that the girlfriend shot the wife, but like, you were dating a child. And everything that he did since then is so disgusting.
And I'm sure more has been unearthed about his past, that he probably wasn't just an isolated affair. The fact that he's go AWOL. I mean, who does that when they have kids, So anyway, Amy also, since leaving prison, goes and works in porn as well. So no surprises there. Often when people become unemployable or find difficult
and public figures because of scandal.
Yeah. She claimed that her ex-husband, Louis Bolaira, got her involved in the porn industry, which he denied. He sent a video of the couple having sex in 2007, around the time when the reunion was happening between Amy and Joey. The video was called Amy Fisher Caught on Tape. So he told the New York Post that porn was her idea and that she planned the sex tapes release with her agent. So they're all just questionable characters. They're all kind of just fucking each other over and seeing opportunities, and I don't know. So he says, apparently, her ex-husband, I was just a regular Joe when I got involved with that. He said, I never made a dime out of it. I was a silent, suffering person in this whole thing. Don't necessarily believe that either, because when you marry Amy Fisher,
you're going to have some drama in your life.
And maybe that's what you're attracted to. Or he saw an opportunity to marry a very infamous person, So Fisher claims,
or maybe let's give him, maybe he is a total victim in this. Maybe he just fell in love. We don't want to victim blame, but we don't know. And I suspect that he was equally a piece of shit.
Yeah. I honestly think like attracts like. So Fisher claimed she didn't want to do porn. She said, I was never happy doing it, and he would just sit there and watch even while I cried. He likes money and he likes attention. Him and Joey were the same that way. They say you always pick the same person, scumbags. And I think with her, she actually didn't really have much experience with men that weren't like this.
Yeah.
So
she doesn't know the alternative.
No.
That's normal for her, comfort zone for her.
Yeah. Just not even realizing that there are men who are not going to take advantage of you and just be dicks. So Louis Bolaira appeared on VH1 Celebrity Rehab with Fisher in 2012, before they divorced. The same year, Louis and Joey boxed each other as part of Celebrity Fight Night, a charity event where subjects of scandals met in a ring. So it's all just very weird. It's kind of like, who knows what was real, what was for TV, what was for money, what was genuine. It's just so entangled. And
because I heard as well, I was listening to an episode really of True Crime and Cocktails, love that podcast, about Lorena and John Wayne Bobbitt, who we might cover. But Lorena being the one who was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of her husband, and one day had a psychotic break and cut off his penis. It was reattached. He also went into porn because
so gross.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't want to research that episode because I just find it so gross, the whole cutting off of the penis thing.
Yeah, it was traumatic. But yeah, he was meant to have a celebrity boxing match.
I don't blame her though.
No, I mean, we're not advocating for cutting off people's penises, but when you listen to the story,
there's been a few cases in the UK in the last few years that I looked into where the women did kill their husbands, but it was after decades of abuse. And
I actually just read an article that I found so interesting of a woman whose 3 sons were sexually abused by their neighbor, who was a sex offender. He was on the register, but he changed his name. And apparently, if a sex offender changes their name, it's super hard to track them, which I find baffling. And she killed him.
I read that one too. Do you know what? I didn't want to cover any of those that involved anything that involved kids. I can't do it.
I know. It's really difficult. And again, not saying that's the right way, but there are some things where you can really follow step by step, like with Amy Fisher, how it got to that situation. And it's hard to argue that if you were in that same situation, you wouldn't end up doing something similar. Again, I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying
it is important to have some understanding of what led to that,
and don't think that you're untouchable in terms of having rage issues or jealousy issues or reasonable reactions or responses. Like, people can be pushed and abused and manipulated very easily by people who know how to do it.
So yeah, back to Amy.
Right. Yes.
She also went on Oprah, Larry King. She did all the TV talk shows. So she was milking her opportunities, you know?
I mean, I remember this time. There was a good few years where this story was fucking everywhere. Everywhere. Like every TV show, every news, like it was just so big. And it kept on coming back like waves every time there was the trial and the
Yeah. And the thing is, in a way, I don't blame her for trying to make money as she could, because she did have 3 kids, and she even moved to Florida, changed her name to Elizabeth Valera. So Valera was her husband's name, Elizabeth was her middle name. And obviously the scandal just followed her around. So there's not many people who are going to want to work with her, you know? So, you know, I don't blame her for taking certain opportunities. But interestingly, in 2009, Mary Jo wrote a book, and I love the title, Getting It Through My Thick Skull. Yeah. Why I Stayed, What I Learned, and What Millions of People Involved with Sociopaths Need to Know. Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting that book.
I like the title. Good for you, Mary Jo.
So what happened since then? Mary Jo, because she's taking an opportunity to get her story out there, but in a way to like help others, inform others.
Yeah, and she's done a lot of charity work since then. She's really used what happened to her for good, you know. So in 2008, New York Times wrote an article called "Had She Been Mrs. Smith, Who'd Remember Her?" And it's true. She even said herself that if Joey was called Smith, you know, it wouldn't have been as big a story. So she tells that after everything that happened, Joey was basking in his notoriety, driving around town in his white Cadillac, roaring across the bay in his big yellow speedboat called Double Trouble, and calling in regularly to the Howard Stern show. The author of the article, Corey Kilgannon, recalls meeting Joey and asking to interview him for the article. Joey's response was this: "What do you want to be a reporter for?" He said from the roof. "The scum of the earth," he told me to call his agent and his manager. Can you imagine? Joey, call my agent, speak to my people.
Sorry, literally convicted pedophile calling anyone else scum.
Yeah.
Is a bit rich.
I remember thinking, this is what the journalist said, I remember thinking his wife gets a bullet in her head and he gets an agent and a manager. And that summarizes this whole fucking scandal. So Corey, the journalist, then spoke to Mary Jo, and she said, "I want to get the point across that you can go through anything, whether it's tragedy or scandal, and come out with your head up and move on with life," she said. And indeed, she had some unprintable words last week to describe, sorry, get rid of last week. Indeed, she had some unprintable words to describe Joey and Amy, but she said, "I really want it to be positive, everything that happened, you know?" Mary Jo has used her story to raise awareness of facial paralysis, and she legally reverted her name back to Connery, which was her maiden name. But she said publicly, "I'm known as Mary Jo Buttofuoco." It's going to be hard to separate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, she's going to be known as.
Yeah, but she said the name has been a burden for their children, who are not speaking to their dad at the moment. She said things are always coming up with Joe. It's so tiring. He goes away for a little while, then he gets arrested or rearrested, and he's back. And it's like, when is he going to grow up? She said they've all given up on him now. So that is the story. So these are my final thoughts.
Oh, sorry, it was a lot. This is our lighthearted one, but it was a lot.
It is. This is the lighthearted one. Oh my God, it is the lighthearted one. Let me tell you. So Joey is a villain. That's my final thought. He's the master
a piece
orchestrator.
Of shit.
Yeah. Amy as well. But I think she was a child suffering trauma who needed therapy. And this whole thing could have been avoided had a lot of horrendous things not happened to her in her childhood, had she had some more support, and so on.
If the adults in her life had been better for her.
Yeah. And Mary Jo didn't deserve what happened, obviously. She really is the innocent person in the collateral damage in this whole disgusting story.
Her and the kids.
Yeah, and the kids, yeah. These days, Amy's living a private life, and she's 48 years old. So, yeah. She actually said the last thing I read that she said was that she was approached for TV appearances in 2017, but turned them down, and told the New York Post It's just not worth it. I want a private life. My life has already been ruined, which I actually find rich to say that, because actually I think in all this, you know, the whole not showing remorse, she still is not realizing that she's not the biggest victim of all this, you know, like I agree horrendous things happened to her, but it's not just her life that's been ruined. It's actually a whole family's life that she's also ruined. So yeah, a whole bunch of questionable characters. You know, Mary Jo, I think, emerged, you know, I wouldn't say victorious, because she still suffers medically, you know, from what happened, but she's,
and the emotional trauma on her children that she's single-handedly having to deal with.
But she's using this whole story for good, whereas Joey, Amy, just still, I don't know.
I mean, the reason the story got so big was because both Joey and Amy were fucking disgusting. They said things that were just like, what the fuck? Like, they were a tabloid's dream. And then on top of that, Mary Jo was so dignified. And so, but she got a lot of criticism. I remember at the time getting a lot of criticism.
Yeah, she was dragged through the press as well.
And it's like, this lady got shot in the head.
The press was not kind during that era. They still aren't now. Remember, this is during the Princess Diana era. This is, you know, the press still, you know, the ones
News
that
of the world, hacking, all kinds of shit.
I mean, these still, now these tabloids don't treat people with decency, and they have the ability to cheapen any story. But it was a time that was particularly bad, I would say, particularly bad.
For sure. And again, they kept on giving them just gold for the headlines, didn't they? Because everything that came out of their mouths at the time was
they were narcissists.
Ridiculous.
And they were narcissists, and they were opportunists, and they
literally courted the publicity, positive
and they were money
negative.
hungry. They were literally like, TV gold if you wanted to watch that kind of shit, you know? The stuff that we started the episode talking about, how we don't want to watch. Like, as much as I love reality TV, I don't like watching reality TV that features low lives, and, you know. So
poor Mary Jo, Mary Jo's kids.
Yeah, exactly. That's sad. But, you know, although this is the more lighthearted of all of our stories, you know, the sad fact is that their lives were overturned by this, and it's not a temporary life overturning. Do you know what I mean? This is, you know, it resulted in them, you know, not seeing their dad. It resulted in Mary Jo with lifelong injuries and the trauma of all that. So what do you think?
Is Joey Buttafuoco still alive?
Oh, he's still alive. Yeah, he's alive and kicking. Yeah.
Because he goes around acting and seeming like this was the best thing that ever happened to him, and he's loving life. I know that's probably an oversimplification, and he obviously went through a lot of hard times. Amy seems to be getting to a point where she just wants to forget about that whole incident. And obviously Mary Jo probably wishes it never happened, but yeah, he still struts around like, look at me. Loving that everyone knows his name, doesn't matter how or why, gets all these like flashy opportunities to do like the celebrity boxing matches and hang out with Howard Stern, who's also scum of the earth. Like, it just makes me sick.
I mean, maybe it will all catch up with him. Who knows? Maybe he'll have a moment of enlightenment and remorse. But
well, he's going to die alone. He's going to die alone. But he could have had his loving family around him, and now he's going to die alone.
The sad truth is that I think some people don't get what they deserve.
Yeah.
And that's also another sad truth, is that some people don't get what they deserve. And I don't know, he might just continue to, you know, live his life like he has been, doing whatever he wants. Who knows, you know? But I'm curious to know whether our listeners liked this lighthearted episode in amongst the misery we've got coming for you.
I think we just stop calling it the lighthearted one and just call it the one where no one actually dies.
Yeah. So If you like this episode, DM us. And if you didn't like
leave us a review.
Oh, leave us a review. We would love that.
Sorry, I forgot when I was talking about the merch. Oh, sorry, my lipstick on that side. But we've also got a mug.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really excited because depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on, we've also in our merch store, because all of the merch that we're giving away and more, you can find on our shop on our website.
Yeah,
so we've got a fanny pack / bum bag.
I love them. Do you know what? There's certain things I never thought. You know what? We love the 90s. We talk about it every episode. I think it's like unavoidable.
It's basically a 90s tribute.
But you know what? Of all the things that came back from the 90s, I'm most surprised about the bum bag. I'm most surprised.
I'm not because I love a good festival. I go to at least 1 or 2 a year, and so
they're fucking convenient. You can't argue with that. Your hands are free. It's not hanging off your back. Or I mean, these days kids are weirdly wearing it like a backpack. I don't understand.
But also, weirdly, even when you wear it across your body, like across the shoulder,
I mean, it's still comfortable. Yeah.
It's still more comfortable than a bag designed to wear like that.
I go out every damn day of my life with a bum bag, and I didn't think a few years ago I'd say that. That being said, it's really fucking convenient when your two hands are like holding on to kids, trying to make sure they don't run away. Yeah. So yeah, I love a bum bag. Anyway, so you can get a branded one.
Mm-hmm. And cushions.
Oh yeah. And a hoodie.
We love our shop.
But you know what? Tell us, DM us, tell us if you liked the episode. DM us to tell us if you didn't, but be polite about it. Tell us what you want to hear more of.
Let us know.
Just say hi.
Yeah.
Just get in touch and say hi. Yeah.
Oh my God. When people email us, it makes our day. Completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't give us work to do. Unless you want to give us suggestions for merch.
Yeah.
That I'm always
don't give us work to do. What are you talking about?
No, I mean, paid work, fine. But like... Yeah,
we're all about the podcast. If you want your socials done, we got it. If you want your show notes written, we got it. You want anything written, Dee's a journalist. She writes for the Pod Bible magazine. You want anything written, Dee will write it for you. You want your socials done, I'll do it for you. Do you want something copywritten or copy edited? I'm qualified.
I mean, the one thing I think listening to this podcast will prove is that we're a fucking delight to work with.
Okay. I was wondering in what respect you meant. Okay, to work with, I think we're a dream. I gotta say,
an absolute dream.
In what other way are we a delight?
Oh, that's about it, really.
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with that. Yeah.
To have a drink with, we're quite fun. But yeah, definitely not to parent us. But we're not in the market for parents, so don't worry about that. Yeah. So hi, Mom and Dad again. They don't listen. They don't listen. Have they ever listened to any of our podcast episodes?
Yeah.
We've done so many.
Yeah, they have.
Which one?
Let's hope they don't anymore.
Yeah, we're not encouraging it. They're getting a mug for Christmas. They'll leave it at that. I don't even think my dad knows what podcasts are. They read our work.
That's nice.
Oh, that's nice. They are good parents. But yeah, podcasts. Our mum is our podcast manager because the next episode will be the last one where we know what the other one is covering.
Yeah.
Thanks to a little system we've devised with our mom, who's the keeper of the list.
Yeah.
So we have to submit to her our podcast topics so she can tell us if they have been covered or not by the other person. So next episode, I can tell you, is Natalie Wood.
Do you know what? I remember when you told me that you were going to cover this, and you asked me, do I want to cover it? I was like, nah, it's boring. So I know it's not going to be because you're covering it. So it's not going to be. It's going to be a good story.
It's a challenge. We're going to cut out the bit where you said our next podcast episode is going to be boring. But anyways, so catch us.
It's not going to be.
It's not going to be. Honestly, I feel like you think it's boring because you don't know.
I don't know. Exactly. I'm just thinking, how could Maria from West Side Story have any sort of scandal surrounding her?
Oh my God. Do you really think that?
It's my favorite musical
fucking
of all
blow your mind.
Time. Do you know what? It's my favorite musical.
Yeah, well, we'll get onto it in the next subject, but if you
I was about to start singing, but then I realized we have to pay.
We can't afford it. You can go, Maria. That's it. Okay, but anyways, I'm going to talk to you about West Side Story more next episode.
Let me go.
But if you genuinely think, how does she not have any scandal in her life? You are in for such a fucking massive shock after shock after shock after shock. I told you, I knew you thought it was a boring case because you didn't know.
Okay.
Oh my God. And the amount of different people that you will know of that are involved. Oh, I can't wait for you. I'm so jealous. I wish I was you about to hear the story. All right.
I'm excited.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to see you next time for Natalie Wood, the definitely not boring story of Natalie Wood. All right. Bye.
Hey there. Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Do you need a new website or want to boost your social media performance? Or do you hate podcast editing? You've tried optimizing your website and social media channels, but you're still not getting the listeners, downloads, and engagement you want?
We, the Safier sisters, love helping people with tasks that they hate. We know a thing or two about podcasts, websites, and social media, and we love working with other podcasters and business owners.
So why not head over to switchbladesisterssocialclub.com and go to our Work With Us section. We believe in collaboration over competition. A rising tide raises all ships.
Bye!